I remain Dr. Abubakar Yunusa, member representing Yamal Tudeba Federal Constituency. I am from Gombe State. My motion need to investigate the non-repayment of $7 billion from the Nigerian's foreign reserves disbursed to 14 global asset managers and 14 Nigerian banks by the Central Bank of Nigeria since the year 2006. The House notes that sometimes in 2006, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, disbursed the sum of $7 billion of Nigeria's $38.07 billion USD foreign reserve to 14 global asset managers and their 14 Nigerian banks. They call them local partners. Also, I want the House to note that the 14 global asset managers are, I am mentioning them along their Nigerian counterpart: BlackRock and Union Bank, PLC. Then you have JP Morgan, Chase and Zenith Bank, HSBC and First Bank, Nigeria PLC, BNP Paribas and Intercontinental Bank, USB and United Bank for Africa, Credit Suisse and IBTC Chartered Bank, Morgan Stanley and GTB, that's Guarantee Trust Bank, Fortis and Bank PHB. You have Cominvest and Oceanic Bank PLC, ING and Eco Bank, and the last but not the least, you have the New York and Stanbic Bank PLC. Then the last one is Crown Agent and Diamond Bank. Aware that the Central Bank of Nigeria gave each asset manager and its Nigerian bank counterpart the sum of $500 million. In October, sometimes 2006. Again, the Vanguard newspaper also carried the same report 3 days after. That was on the 6th of October, and now that of Vanguard is on the 9th October. I have been monitoring with keen interest to see, despite the title that 14 banks and their foreign counterpart have been given $7 billion from our reserve. They even quoted the spokesperson of the CBN as of then, who confirmed the said activity. It was widely publicized in the media, but 13 years after, if the giving has been publicized, why the repayment has been in secrecy? That is, even if it has been done, yet for us to come to the conclusion that we need to ascertain whether it has been repaid or not. That is one. Secondly, that time, October 2006, under the watch of the CBN governor, most of our banks were in comatose. That was when the recapitalization of banks were put in place to $25 billion. Part of the conditions, all the banks laboriously, they labored hardly, some of them fulfilled this recapitalization. Immediately after, just a couple of months, then this issue of accessing or managing the $7 billion, part of the conditions that has been availed to me is that these banks must have an additional capital base of $35 billion. 35 billion naira. They hardly, through their nose, they raised 25 billion. Then a couple of months, what magic have they performed to have fulfilled the condition to access the $500 million, each of the banks? That also raised a very serious question. Could it be that the CBN stepped down and waive that portion of raising additional capital, because the banks at that time could not even do that, even with a miracle, because we don't know what miracle they could do to have manufactured the additional 35 billion naira. That also is very, very curious. Again, the spokesperson of the CBN at that time did mention that the $7 billion was a proceed of the CBN from the foreign reserve. Do we have in our laws that CBN benefit from our foreign reserve? We know the statutory role of the CBN, apart from the market value of the federally allocated foreign reserve. What trading are they doing to have earned $7 billion? Section 162 of the Nigerian Constitution have explained how the Nigerian crude wealth is the kind of commonwealth property, wealth of the Nigerian people. And we, the National Assembly, are the one to legislate. I can't even know, when I keep on digging for about 4 or 5 years before I came up with this motion, to see whether there has been an act of legislation that oversight the giving of such loan. So, I don't want to bother you because it's an investigation. These are all my thinking, which prompted me, and I've now brought it to the limelight for the House to pass this motion so that we can do the legislative framework to ascertain the veracity or otherwise of my claim. That is my deposition, Mr. Speaker.
Respect question. I so scanned. So I now want to put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. I have it.